What's up, peeps? Welcome to BANDOFBROS. Are you wondering how to find your perfect dead zone sensitivity settings? And what does center dead zone and actual dead zone mean? Like, what's the difference between these two? Well, in today's video, I'm going to answer them and again explain to you guys how to find your perfect dead zone sensitivity settings so that you can aim like a boss. So let's jump right into this video. First things first is where to find these settings. We're going to go here into the controller settings, hit a triangle or Y depending if you're on Xbox. You're going to go all the way to the bottom where it says controller tuning. We're going to go ahead and hit edit on this one. Here you've got your controller vibration, your adaptive triggers, a couple other things in here. But what we're going to be taking a look at is the controller left stick and the right stick, specifically the right stick. And let me just start by explaining to you what do these actually mean. So center dead zone, let me show you the image right here so you guys can take a closer look at it. The dead zone is basically a dead area in your joystick to prevent the stick drift. So basically the bigger the number the dead zone is, this little red circle will be a lot bigger. And what that means is that area is non-functional at all. So, but also that means that the higher the number, that means that higher the red area means that your those precision shots are going to be less accurate, because if you're trying to move your joystick just a little bit, it's not going to detect any movement. But the problem is that if we put it too low, then our controller starts drifting and moving by itself, and we don't want that. Now let's jump into the other one. What does actual dead zone mean? So actual dead zone is also a dead zone area, but kind of imagine it like an X or like a cross on your analog stick. And let me show it to you here in this image. So this controls your vertical up and down, and it also controls your horizontal movement, like your left and right. But so what does it actually mean when I increase this number? Well, if you increase this number and you're moving to the right, that means even if you go to the right and a little bit higher up, like you're moving your controller like diagonally right, the higher the number is, the higher diagonally right you're going to have to move, so your aim actually goes higher. So most importantly, how does this actual dead zone actually affect while you're in the game? Well, let me show you right here. So we're going to move our actual dead zone pretty low, right? So we're going to move it at a 2.5 so you guys can see the difference. Now, once we hop out, what you're going to notice when you set it at 2.5 is that that X line that I showed you that happens in your controller is a lot thinner. So what does this mean? This means that my movement left to right, up and down, is going to be a lot more sensitive in the way that the second I move right and I start moving on my analog stick a little bit right, a little bit top, it's going to go top. Same thing, if I'm moving up and down and I slightly move to the right, my aim is going to move to the right. So there is less margin of error, but what it does is it allows you to control your aim a lot more. So again, if you want like really precise shots and you think you're that kind of guy that you don't want anything messing with your controller, then the lower that actual dead zone is going to be, the more control you're going to have. But again, less precise shots. And I'm going to show you right now the difference, but also how to know which one is the best one for you. So let's switch it up. And it's better as well if you do this with me, like if you jump into the game, so you can see the difference. Because again, it's more like a feel. So we're going to set this up to 8.5. Now, when you're aiming, as you guys can see, I can still aim like, left and right, up and down. But my movement, like that X line, is a little bit bigger, so it's a little bit more forgiving. Even if I move to the right, as I'm pushing a little bit up, my aim is still going to be on point. I have to push a little bit higher, so then my aim goes high. And honestly, I think this is way better. Like the other one, yes, does give you a little bit more precision, more control, but obviously you're on a joystick, so you're not always going to be moving exactly on a vertical line and exactly on a horizontal line, especially when you're moving fast and moving left and right. So you're going to have a lot more misses. So my option to do is find somewhere in the middle. Usually it's preset to 6, but I actually like it a little bit high. So I think like 8.5, 9, around there is actually a pretty good number to try with the actual dead zone. Again, if you're the kind of player that you're like, no, I don't want any of that, like I just want precise movements, then drop it down. But honestly, having it at around 9, 8.5, it just feels really good. Now let me show you as well how to find that center dead zone so your controller stops drifting, so you get the best of both worlds, right? So what we're going to do with our right stick is we're actually going to set this all the way to the bottom. And let me show you what we're going to do. So you're going to set this all the way to the bottom. And as you guys can see, I've got stick drift, right? Without touching my aim, my aim is actually moving. Even if I try to set it towards the middle, if I barely touch it, I've got stick drift. And it's quite a bit. Usually, again, how does stick drifts happen? It happens by the more time that you use that controller, the older it is, you get more stick drift. So we're going to go ahead and open this up, go into that center dead zone, and we're going to increase it a little bit, right? It's got quite a bit, so we're going to increase it, let's say, to 3, right? So let's go ahead and set it to 3. Go in here, And it still has that, it still has a little bit. What we want to do is just kind of like tap our controller, you know, like move it a little bit to the left, move it a little bit to the right. And as you guys can see, you got to try to find those places where it's still moving, and it was still moving there a little bit. So like barely touch your joystick and lift your finger, and if it's still moving, that means you still got drift. So we still got a little bit, so we're going to go ahead and then increase that a little bit. So we got 3, so I think we're going to go like 4.5 because it was still moving a little bit. We're going to go down. Same thing, we're going to touch our controller just a little bit, and it still moves a little bit. As you guys can see, if I barely touch it downwards, it's still moving. Like there, I just moved it down a little bit and raised my finger, and it's still moving. So here we go again, opening up our controller tuning section. And we're gonna go with a 5.5, which is what I believe I had. We're gonna go try it out again, move a little bit to the left, right. And as you guys can see, no more dead zone. So even if I'm gonna show you here in the camera what I'm doing. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just moving like this, right? You just wanna move your controller like this and raise your finger, right? Kind of like move it to the left. And as you guys can see, it doesn't move anymore. So this means our dead zone is cured now. Now, as far as the other one, the left stick, we're not really going to be touching that much into it. This is the moving one, but you basically want to do the same thing with the center dead zone as we did with the other one. So you lower your dead zone. If your dude walks by himself, then increase that dead zone a little bit. If he's still walking, increase that. But again, you want the least amount of number here so you get the best input out of your controller. So ladies and gentlemen, that was it for this video. Let me know down below in the comments if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. Peace out, and I'll see you on the next one.